The price movement of Brent crude and OPEC basket remains largely affected by the current economic tensions and demand from China. This fuels the already COVID-19 hit sector. Earlier in March this year, Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timi Presiva, in an announcement stated government had adopted a price modulation mechanism reflecting the price adjustment of petroleum products on the international market and a fair pricing scheme to regulate the price of the commodity. This was in response to the dwindling oil prices as a result of lockdown measures and impact of the coronavirus pandemic and calls for necessary review. They saw the pump price of fuel in March drop to 145 naira, from 145 naira to 125 naira. It's now about 6 months down the line since the mechanism had been put in place. As the global economy is gradually reopening, demand for petroleum products has fueled a gradual surge in oil prices on the international market, which now average about $40 to $45 per barrel. Going by the adjustments, the pump price of fuel over the past few months has fluctuated, largely determined by market forces, as subsidy removal redefines the new cost of the product in a bid to deregulate the market. Let's do a review of the price pattern of the product. In the month of August, downstream subsidiary of NNPC Petroleum Products Marketing Company fixed the ex-depot price of PMS at 138 naira 62 kobo per litre, which is what determines the pump price that the product will be sold to motorists. In September, the PPMC increased the ex-depot price of PMS to 151 naira 56 kobo per litre, with the marketers saying the product will be sold between 160 to 165 naira per litre. Reacting to the new pump price, the House of Representatives Minority Caucus condemned the increase in the pump price from 148 naira to 151 naira per litre, challenging the federal government to come up with strategies that will lead to decrease, including revamping the nation's refineries. Also, NLC President Ayuba Waba says the increase in the price of fuel is in the last 3 months, the hike in electricity tariff as well as reduction in interest rates of savings are targeted at further impoverishing the poor and vulnerable. Joining me now to discuss the price hike of fuel and analyzing the perspective of the pricing template from the standpoint of the Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria, as well as the regulation initiatives adopted so far, I have Mr. Clement Isang. He's the Executive Secretary of MOMAN on the show today. Thank you very much for your time, despite your busy schedule. Thank you so much. I appreciate this.
Thank you for having me.
Now, how would you describe the recent, it's called cost-reflective price of premium motor spirits, that's fuel. How does it come to you and your association?
Well, I would say that it's been a challenging couple of months as we have tried to implement the cost-reflective pricing. The major problem has always been access to foreign exchange. You can imagine that as crude oil prices have crashed, the availability of forex has been a challenge for the country, for Nigeria. And in my sector, we really do not have access to foreign exchange at the INE window rate of 387 naira per dollar. So we are unable to import PMS because price modulation has used that number, 387 naira per dollar, to calculate what the landing price should be. And that is why basically only NNPC continues to import.
So how soon? I'm looking at marketers getting to also play in this market. Does it have to do just with the forex issues or the market not being as attractive as it used to be?
Well, the market has not been attractive for a very long time. It has been extremely challenging because whenever you have in Nigeria government setting prices, they try to do the best they can for the masses, and quite often the challenge is setting cost-reflective prices, and that has been extremely difficult. The environment has been challenging for 10, 20 years, and which is why marketers have always asked for the deregulation of prices. And let us compete in the market, those that are innovative, those that can find more efficient business models are those that will survive in a deregulated market.
Now, the regulation sounds very good when we look at what we'll get out of it eventually, but some are talking about the timing. COVID-19 is hitting hard, a lot of negatives. So Nigerians are saying, why at this time?
Well, I guess they would be right. We should have done it long before now. If we had done it long before now, then this would not have been the challenge at this time. It is unfortunate. It is truly unfortunate. The problem, I believe, is that the country, to put it bluntly, is broke. We really cannot afford to continue to pay for subsidies. It wasn't budgeted for in the budget. Subsidies last year was, I think, over 1 trillion naira. That money has to be spent on simply staying afloat. So it's unfortunate that it has come at this time, but I really do not think the country has a choice.
Really, I don't think we have a choice. Even IMF, World Bank has come to say that we cannot continue to sustain this. So one way or the other, something needs to be done. Something comes to my mind. We keep talking about issue of market forces coming to play, talking about when we talk about PMS price adjustments. Now, what are you saying, talking about market forces at this time? What role would they play in all of this?
Well, market forces, there are two key factors in the importation of fuel into Nigeria. The first is Platts. Platts is the average cost of product outside the country. And Platts has been going up because OPEC has done a successful job in pushing up the price of crude. So Platts has been going up. The second key factor would be the exchange rate. Now, the central bank continues to keep the exchange rate at a particular level. So those are the two key factors with respect to landing products in Nigeria. Thereafter, you have different other factors that influence at what price you sell at the pump. But the most important factor is the customer, is competition. If your price is too high, then I'm sorry, you will not have customers. So marketers are pushed to compete with each other. You will find that today, some marketers are selling at 159, others are selling at 151. I heard today that in some parts of the country, it's as high as 164. It is really your ability to get your product to the location and to manage the market at the location. That is what market forces are about.
Indeed. I bought for 161 earlier today, and that was really, well, I had to just part. I had no choice. I had to buy fuel. Now, let's look at, you talked about like 1 trillion naira spent on subsidy, a lot of money. We've seen figures being spent. Now, one thing is to save money. What will be the benefits of all of this money if we don't pay subsidy? What could be the positives for Nigerians? Maybe when Nigerians get to understand these positives, they will be able to align with government with regards to this that needs to be done.
I think as Nigerians, there are some things that we see that we have to be honest about. In this country, this government has put rail. If you look, they're just starting. We have the Kaduna to Abuja rail, you have the Lagos-Ibadan rail about to start. We can actually see the infrastructure in place. We can actually see the infrastructure of the roads that have been put in place throughout the country. We can actually see the investments in the airports, in Enugu, in Abuja, in Lagos. Government has spent money. The problem is government has had to borrow to complete these projects. Now, at the very least, we have seen the project that have been done beforehand. It's time to pay those debts. So Nigerians will benefit from the infrastructure that this government has put in place.
I have a question here online, and they're telling me to ask you that how much will it cost Nigerians to buy, without government intervention at all, how much will it cost us likely to buy a liter of fuel?
Well, if there was, when you say without government intervention, it's really, so Platts is now, it is a foreign price. Government cannot intervene in Platts. What government can intervene in is the foreign exchange rate.
True.
And at the foreign exchange rate of 387, that is why you have your prices at around 160. If the foreign exchange rate was higher, if you look at the price of diesel, that should be indicative. The price of diesel is 190. That would be indicative of. But remember that diesel is deregulated, and marketers are buying diesel, accessing foreign exchange at strange rates. So really, the problem is that of forex. It is the management of forex. I should just add that the forex rate will only improve if the productivity of the country improves. The country does need to improve its productivity. And when it does that, then the Naira rate will be justifiable.
With all of this talk, now, what about the implication of the non-inclusion of subsidy? Because we know that it's not included. The Vice President even reiterated this yesterday at the retreat with the ministers, saying that, well, there is no budget, there's no plan actually for subsidy in the 2020 national budget. Now, what does that mean for Nigeria?
I think that was extremely prudent, extremely bold. What the government has done is that it has budgeted all the money it hopes to get for the healthcare sector, for the educational sector, for infrastructure, for agriculture, for the benefit of Nigerians. I think the government has done something extremely wise, extremely bold, and Nigerians will begin to see the benefits.
Let's look at it now this way. What will you tell Nigerians? Because now, like I told you, I bought this morning at 161 as they try to adjust to this new price regime. What would you tell us?
I would say it is a bit painful. It is a bit painful, but it is a process. At the end of the day, Nigeria is a petroleum producing country. If we get it right, if we get the economics right, then you will find that we will build refineries, we will build petrochemical plants, we will build ancillary industries. These industries will employ people. These industries will do business with businesses. Very soon, Nigeria will become a net exporting country. We will be the refining hub for West and Central Africa. That will earn us foreign exchange. That will build the economy. We have reached the stage that we should focus on increasing our productivity and not on consumption. It will be a difficult process, but it's a process that we are bound to do together, and it is time that we focused on this.
All right, in 60 seconds, also message to MOMAN members. This time, marketers are also, everyone is talking, everyone expects a lot from marketers too at this time. So what's also your message to the marketers at this time?
Marketers have got to give their customers value-added services. We must realize that consumers are struggling. The economy is tough, people are struggling, and if we cannot do anything about the fuel price, at least there are other things we can do. We have alternative energies coming on stream. We will support the government in the gas initiative. There will be alternatives to power like solar energy. But the most important, Nigeria is a gas country. We need to exploit this gas for the benefit of Nigerians. It looks as if we are going to get this policy right now. And all of us need to support government to bring these alternative energies to the masses, to Nigerians.
Mr. Clement Songamos, thank you very much for your time. It's great to really have you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.